Alright, this is Zoom Conference 2, a follow-up to Zoom Conference 1 where Cindy was allowed to air her grievances and then was blasted for a considerable amount of time with obfuscation and nonsense, which you will see a lot of that repeat itself in this Zoom Conference 2. You have to fast forward to about 8 minutes to hear anything because the audio did not work for this entire length of time. They claim to have the best IT guy in the world, although they cannot figure out how to get the audio to work on their videos, which is also a recurring theme you will see throughout this video. Alright, without further ado, let's go. Audio. There it is.
All right. Hello, folks. My name is Kent Hovind. It is July 14th, 2021. It is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We're having our Zoom meeting with our CSC board members, Lynn, Bill Sardi, and also on the phone, I think, are invited anyway, Paul Hansen, Cindy Lincoln, Brady Byrum, attorney Alex Stefano, and myself here in person. Okay. These are the CSC board members or trustees.
Alright, let's back up. So, CSC board members, and he lists Ernie Land, who is a board member, Bill Sardi, who is a board member, Paul Hansen is a trustee on a different CSE, which I also am a trustee on that trust. Cindy is not a board member. Brady Byrum is not an official board member. Alex Stefano is not a board member. And Kent Hovind is, well, Kent Hovind. He's present. We'll give him props for that.
And myself here in person. Okay. These are the CSC board members or trustees. Attorney Hughes up in Michigan, Bill Sardi.
Attorney Hughes, last I heard, is basically on his deathbed, so mentioning him here is kind of pointless.
Cody Land, and Ernie Land.
Has anybody ever actually met Cody Land? I know I haven't. Not once.
In our last Zoom meeting, we gave Cindy about 25 minutes without interruption to share her side of this conflict that caused her to leave last.
Yeah, it was without interruption because it was a pre-recorded message. You kinda can't interrupt those unless you have a pause button, like I do. That's fun.
February, and is spreading stuff all over the internet about our ministry and about me. She
Oh, Kent. There's already stuff all over the internet about you. Just Google it. I'm sure you already have.
brought up many topics. We asked for just one topic at a time, but many topics were brought up. So now it is my turn to answer.
Alright, so from this moment on, the next 20 minutes, I'm going to speed you up because Kent does nothing but not answer and proceeds to preach about things that are not even related. So, I'm going to give you some speed up time and we're going to go. Just bear with me.
King George of England had accused the colonists of many things. Actually, they were his slave labor, with the taxation he gave them. He could see that they were close to revolting. So the colonists wrote a declaration. Here's why we are revolting. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, you should give an answer. He said, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to this separation. Fair enough. Hey, we're leaving the King of England. Here's why. And they did the Declaration of Independence and said King George is a jerk. He's an idiot. He refused to do this. They listed all the bad things he did. Okay, and he was a jerk. Nehemiah had been called of God to build a wall around the city to protect God's people from the enemy. I feel God has called me to build a ministry to protect God's people from the crazy religion of evolution. And I've been working hard for 52 years in my Christian life, 52 and a half now, to try to help people strengthen their faith in the Word of God. We're trying to build a wall here at Dinosaur Adventureland. Well, the enemies of God came to Nehemiah in several different ways. They tried mocking him. They tried to discourage the workers. They even threatened him and even used force to stop him from building the wall. Many have tried to stop the DAL ministry in the same ways, with threats and intimidation and mocking. Okay, Nehemiah defended himself. It's perfectly fine. He was just building a wall. They attacked him. Came to pass when Sanballat heard we built the wall, he was wrong.
Just wanted to point out that this building the wall is interesting because the wonderfully talented and gifted tech guy Steve has gone out in public saying that they build a wall of lies, a shroud of lies around the ministry in order to protect it from people like me who have questions that should be answered. Anyway.
Wroth, he took great indignation and mocked the Jews. He spake therefore to his brethren in this army of Samaria. He said, revive the stones out of the heaps of rubbish. They were constantly making fun of the work he was doing. I get this all the time on the internet, mocking and making fun. Then they even said, if a fox goes up, he'll break down their stone wall. People say, oh, that little science museum is a rubber dinosaur in a sand pile. That's the mock on the internet about this place. They didn't come see it. And so he prayed. He said, Lord, would you turn their reproach upon their own head?
Let's talk about mocking for just a second. What is Whack an Atheist? If you've ever seen that program, the entire thing is literally mocking people. Alright.
They provoked thee to anger. Okay? We built the wall. He just kept building the wall, just kept building. Job's friends accused him of all sorts of sins. Read Job, 35 chapters. These guys kept accusing Job of all kinds of things. He maintained his innocence and defended himself. God made sure his story was in the world's best-selling book. Okay? Job defended himself in chapter 27. Job continued his parable and said, as God liveth, who hath taken away my judgment, and the Almighty who hath vexed my soul, all the while my breath is in me. And
All right, let's talk about this for just a second. Job was innocent. Job was perfect before God. Kent, however, is not innocent. Kent is this. Well, he's a narcissist, but what narcissists do with Scripture is I'll just read it. Simply put, is studying Scripture to find or put yourself in it. It is reading the Bible just so you can feel good about yourself. It is going to the Word to see yourself and not to see Jesus. It is a wrong notion that all Scripture points to you. Often, this is done unintentionally. Yeah, Kent does not do this unintentionally. He's very intentional about his narcissism, as you will see throughout this video.
the Spirit of God is in my nostrils. My lips shall not speak wickedness, nor my tongue utter deceit. God forbid that I should justify you, talking about his friends. Till I die, I will not remove mine integrity. Job knew he hadn't sinned, but those four guys kept saying, Job, you must have sinned. You did something wrong. This wouldn't have happened. And I'm being accused of doing all kinds of things, and I'm going to answer them today. Okay? Job said,
You're really not, though. But please try.
with my righteousness I hold fast and will not let it go. Same with Kent Hovind. I think I did nothing wrong, and I'm willing to answer questions about that. Okay. Doth not he see my ways and count all my steps? If I have walked with vanity, or my foot hath hastened to deceit, let me be weighed in an even balance, that God may know mine integrity. All through this chapter, Job said, if I did this, if I did that, if my heart was deceived by a woman, if I despised the cause of a manservant, he goes on and he defends himself. Chapter 31 is the big one. He goes over and over. If I did something wrong, you show me, okay? Job's friends who accused him didn't believe his plea of innocence. Chapter 30.
See, the difference between Job's friends and your, I'm not your friend anymore, Kent, but between us, the ones that are questioning you, is you are guilty. And you won't answer us. Job listened to his friends. You won't listen to us. You won't listen to anybody. Just answer questions. I've got one for you. Where is Zaire? Okay.
35. Elihu answered and said, Let us choose to us judgment. Let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job hath said, I am righteous, and God hath taken away my judgment. So Elihu said, Job claims he's righteous. Yep, he sure did, Elihu. Finally, in chapter 38, God answered. The Lord answered Job and said, Who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Job, your four friends did not know what they were talking about. Okay? Job said, if I covered my transgressions like Adam, he said, I wish one would hear me. In the book of Samuel, Samuel challenged his critics to show where he was at fault. He had been the priest for a long time of the people. Samuel said unto all Israel, Behold, I have hearkened unto your voice, and all that you said I made a king for you. He said, I've walked before you from my childhood unto this day. You folks have known me since I was a kid. He said, I'm here. Witness against me before the Lord.
Now this is another prime example of the narcissism we were talking about earlier. Just pay attention. Kent will point to his own face and then talk about being anointed. So, who's putting themselves in Scripture here? It's definitely Kent.
He's talking to the whole nation now. Anybody know something I did wrong?
There it was. Points to himself. And here comes the anointed talk.
Needs to be fixed. Here I am. And before his anointed, whose ox have I taken? Whose ass have I taken? Or whom have I defrauded? Whom have I oppressed? Whose hand have I received any bribe? To blind mine eye therewith, and I'll restore it. And they said, Thou hast not defrauded us, nor oppressed us, neither hast thou taken aught out of any man's hand. He said, The Lord is witness. I'm going to bear my soul today. And if you think I've done something wrong, I want you folks on this call to say, Okay, Hovind, here's what you did. Jesus responded to his critics. At least 6
Yeah, well, I am responding, and here's what you did.
different ways. Sometimes he would just ask a question. Sometimes he would share a parable or an analogy. Sometimes he would give strong words of condemnation. Sometimes he would just refer to the Scripture. Sometimes he would withdraw from them. Sometimes he just keep silent. People mocked the new Christians on the day of Pentecost because they were just obeying God. They said others mocking said these men are full of new wine, and people have been mocking me on the internet the last couple of weeks, especially at Cindy's prompting mostly. Peter defended the disciples. Peter stood up with the 11 and said, Be it known unto you and hearken to my words. See, it's okay to defend yourself if somebody's attacking you. Paul was falsely accused in Acts chapter 24 of doing evil and breaking the law. They came to the king and said, We found this man a pestilent fellow and a mover of sedition, accusing him of tyranny. Among all the Jews throughout the world, a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes, who hath also gone about to profane the temple, whom we took and would have judged. So Paul stood up and defended himself. He said, I do the more cheerfully answer for myself. And I am thrilled to be able to answer for myself. Paul said, They neither found me in the temple disputing with him.
Then answer already. You have not answered yet. It's been a long time.
Man, neither raising up the people, neither in the synagogues nor in the city, neither can they prove the things whereof they now accuse me. And I challenge my accusers. Show me what I did wrong, okay? I schedule these meetings to get the truth out and to protect the cause of Christ. A lot of things have been said about me and about this ministry, and they're spreading them all over the internet. I think I have an obligation to protect the cause of Christ and to protect my reputation. Brady, number one, I've been accused of breaking a law to go to prison. Brady, are you on there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, did I break any laws to deserve to go to prison?
Not a single one.
Okay. Did I steal anything from the government?
No, you did not.
Okay, I've been accused on the internet of stealing money from the government,
None of this is relevant. None of it.
of not paying some tax. I've never paid the alcohol tax in my life. You know why? I don't drink alcohol. I don't buy any alcohol. There's thousands of taxes. If you owe one, you ought to pay it. I did not defraud the government of any money. So those two can be off the list. Item number 3. A guy in Cincinnati, I think his phone number is 513-728-0769. He'll be excited to give out that number. Called and mocking to ask me a couple days ago, how many wives have you had, Hovind? I said 47,213. I told him I was a virgin on my honeymoon. I've never left or divorced any woman. I've never cursed at them or hit them or failed to provide for them. And I've never touched a woman I was not married to. Can you say the same? Click. End of call.
So, the guy from Cincinnati, Ohio, I know who he is. And he tells the story a little differently. $47,000. Yes, that was consistent. He also said all this, but here's where the story differs. Click, end of call. Well, who hung up? This guy from Ohio says it was Kent. What does Kent say?
So that's it. Apparently not. Okay. Well, today would have been July 14th. Would have been my 48th wedding anniversary with Joe Hovind. I dated 300 girls before choosing her. We dated several years and married just before my senior year in college. And I started off my seminar. If you get my videotapes, you'll hear me show a picture of this picture and say, "This is not my wife. This is just a picture of her." Well, she was my wife.
Why are you bringing your first wife into a dispute with your third wife?
For 42 years. Both virgins on our honeymoon, happily married for 42 years, raised 3 children, 5 grandchildren, never touched a woman I wasn't married to. Can my accuser say the same? We had a wonderful marriage, lived in Pensacola, Florida for a long time. While I was unjustly incarcerated for 9 years, my son Eric was placed in charge of the ministry assets to continue the ministry. He used my mailing list of donors to raise money to buy the properties back from the government for Dad. When the government put me in prison, they seized at least 4 of the ministry. We were buying up properties in the neighborhood to be able to build a dinosaur adventure land like we have here. And we had bought up several homes around us to be able to expand. I said, "Son, you're in charge, take care of stuff while I go to prison." He raised the money with my mailing list and started a new ministry called God Quest. He bought the properties back, but put them in the name of his new ministry. He also transferred 7 or 8 more ministry properties into his new ministry and rented them out and has been renting them ever since. Brady, is this accurate?
I believe so.
Okay. Well, Joe was
Still not relevant, and believing so is not... Whatever, Brady.
now dependent on him for housing and income. I was in prison. While I was in prison, he transferred all the assets into his new ministry name. The Hovind family lived for 9 years off the rental income and sale of my intellectual property while I was in prison. That's fine. But they are still living off the rental income from the properties that should have been returned to me when I returned 6 years ago. 6 years and a couple days ago.
Why? Why should they have been returned to you? You're the reason they were lost in the first place. That would seem wildly irresponsible to return that property to you, Kent.
Did I do wrong? Show me. What have I done wrong with the situation with my family? Brady, did I do anything wrong? You've been in on this since day one?
I do not believe so at all.
Okay. Anybody else want to chime in on this?
I bet your family would like to have something to say about it, Kent. Why don't you bring them in on the discussion? Or are you afraid of them too?
Okay. If the economy crashes and they need to get out of town, I will still take them in and feed and house them today. Okay. There's no bitterness on my part. I just want them to get right
No bitterness. Yeah, right.
with God. I think Eric should return all this stuff, and then we can work out a deal where I don't want the properties, but he should give them back. And I'll say, "Eric, you rent them out. You manage it for me. I'll give you a certain percentage." Okay. My first day home was July 8th, 2015. After the 9 years of prison. After the welcome home party, I was walking down the hall to the bedroom, and Joe pointed to a different room and said, "You are sleeping in there now." That was not my wishes after 9 years of prison. Eric informed me that he now owned everything, including my socks and underwear, and that I could stay in the house if I behaved. I said, "Son, I bought this." I said, "Son, I bought this." And pay rent. I said, "Son, I bought this house when you were like 9 years old." He said, "It's mine now, Dad." He made me pay $600 a month rent to stay in that house. We had to fight him to get my intellectual property back. He kept selling my DVD series because that was his income, and refused to return it to me.
You paying rent was a part of you not... You're reporting to your probation so that you could prove that you had income of some sort. Like, that's what that was about. That was your idea, Kent. That's your idea.
And my web domain, drdino.com, we had to pay to get it back from him. The website that I made up when he was 8 years old. Joe filed for divorce, and in Florida, it's a no-fault state. If someone wants a divorce, they get it. We were in divorce court for 6 minutes. Alex, you're an attorney in Florida. Florida's a no-fault divorce. If one person wants it, they get it. Is that correct?
That's 100% correct, Pastor.
Okay. Then we walked out of the court, and I asked her to marry me. She refused. After 9 months, after getting home, about 9 months, this property in Alabama was given to us, and I moved up here. Eric still has today about 12 rental properties and lots of my museum displays, like 8 Ica stones. I paid $1,500 each for those stones from
Not bitter. Not bitter at all.
Peru that show dinosaurs and humans on there. He still has them, refuses to return them. He has the ministry trailers, all the ministry properties, the sulfur balls from Sodom and Gomorrah. He has all kinds of ministry equipment. He refuses to return them. I think he ought to get 1,000 phone calls. Say, "Eric, give the stuff back to your dad," and then work out a deal with him. I don't want the properties back, but I think in order for him to get right with God, it should be done. Should he return the properties? He should return them and museum items today, and then he should ask if he can keep the profits from using them for the last 15 years. We can work out a deal, son. You can call him 850-479-3463. No, he's 3461. I'm sorry, I got his phone wrong for him. 3461. Hear his side. Bill, Paul, Ernie, is this accurate? Brady, you've been in on this from the beginning.
I believe it is correct.
So Eric should return the properties. We should discuss, okay, son, you've collected what? Probably 800 a month rental properties in Pensacola. So probably
Bill, not present. Paul, not present. Ernie, not present. Brady's there. Was this planned, or was this just off the cuff? Alex is there. Where's Brady? I guess Brady's just on the phone. Okay, that makes sense.
8 or 9,000 a month he's been getting for 15 years. I think we need to have a talk, son. Okay? Did I do anything wrong to deserve what happened with Eric and the ministry assets?
Yes.
Brady, you're in on it. Okay? Did I do anything? Okay, did I do anything wrong to have Joe divorce me after 42 years of marriage?
Yes.
No.
Now the judge locked her up gave her a year and a day sentence. She served 9 months in prison.
That was your fault. That was your fault.
It's the judge's fault, the corrupt system. Even though I did nothing wrong to deserve having Joe divorce me after 42 years of marriage, I would still take her back today, since I made a promise.
That's just weird. She wouldn't take you back. Why even say that?
If the economy crashes, I will take all the Hovinds in at Dinosaur Adventureland and provide for them. You're invited up here. Now, the Bible says in 1 Timothy, a bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife. I think the Bible teaches clearly that the leader of the church or the leader of a ministry has to be married.
That is not at all what that passage is saying. It's saying if they are married, they should have one wife, not 3. Kent Hovind, you have 3 wives. Not 1, 3.
The husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, good behavior, etc. In Titus, it says the same thing. For this cause left I thee increase, that thou shouldst set in order the things that are wanting, ordain elders in every city as I appointed thee, if any be blameless, the husband of one wife. The leader has to be married, otherwise it causes all kinds of conflict and kinds of rumors going around, okay? The passion.
You're not taking that passage for what it's saying. You're making it say what you want it to say. That's not right.
I think has to be married. Having faithful children, not accused of riot or unruly, and not soon angry. A bishop must be blameless, not soon angry. You won't find anybody that's able to tell you, I have a habit of being vicious and angry and yelling and screaming.
You're always angry, Kent. And yes, we've heard you yelling and screaming. You liar.
I just don't do that, okay? Not given to wine, never tasted wine, no striker, I've never hit any of them. Not given to...
What about Barry? What about Cindy? Huh? You want to answer those? I mean, you're lying, Kent. You're lying.
filthy lucre. Money is not my goal in life. Joe,
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry the crooked legal system did this to you.
No, Kent, you did it.
I know you spent 9 months in jail too, and I'm sorry. I didn't send you there.
You're
Today's
not
our anniversary,
sorry.
Joe. I'm currently single, and we'll take you back today. So we can finish our 50 years. Just call or come visit. You've had me blocked for 5 years now. I can't call you, can't email you. Eric's got me banned from coming back on my own property. I hope you watch this video, Joe. Give me a call. I shall take you back.
Not gonna happen.
Neither Eric nor Joe have been up here to visit Dinosaur Adventureland 70 miles away in the 5.5 years I've been here. Eric has not allowed his 3 kids, my grandkids, to come visit, nor my daughter or her husband. All of them work
That's because you bring pedophiles to Dinosaur Adventureland, you idiot.
for him. He's now the provider for everybody. After Joe divorced me, I interviewed Mary Toko, childhoodshots.com. I had recommended her stuff for years. She speaks out against vaccinations and had a great ministry, so I had her interviewed on my YouTube channel. Several of the people that work in the ministry said, yeah, that's the next Mrs. Hovind right there. You better date her. I said, oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah, right. You thought about that before you were even divorced from Joe. Yeah, you sure did.
We eventually began dating and eventually married. We didn't kiss each other till the wedding day. We had a wonderful marriage in Lennox for 9 months. Mary Toko.
Whoa, 9 months. And guess what? It was a marriage. You just admitted to it. So you can't call it a marriage and an annulment, because the annulment means that the marriage never happened. Okay.
Beautiful woman. Had great ministry. Childhoodshots.com.
You're still married to Mary Kent.
So we were very happily married for 9 months. Mary and I were. There was a picture on one of the atheist websites about, oh, look, there's the second wife. Yep. One day I came home from preaching and discovered she was gone. She'd been scared by the IRS, is what I was told. Cindy and Mary were best friends, and she helped me try hard to get her back to no avail. We went up to South Carolina and tried to, Mary, what are you doing? Why? There's no reason to leave. Very happily married for 9 months and poof, gone while I was gone preaching. I've heard rumors that somebody from the IRS contacted her and said, you better get off the property. I don't know that. I don't know. Still don't know why for sure. The CSC elders eventually advised me, yeah, she's gone.
CSE elders? Do you have elders? No, you don't have elders, Kent. Why are you saying you have elders? You don't have elders. You're lying.
Send an annulment. Now, Joe and I had a state license, but marriage license, we had to get a divorce. Mary and I had a church a marriage covenant. Brady, is a marriage license required to be married?
Okay, in 2017, Alabama rescinded common law marriage as a thing. Like, it's not anymore after 2017, but you were married to Mary before that. So yes, you were common law married to Mary. You have to get a civil divorce. An annulment will not do.
Absolutely not.
Now, you can get one if you want, but a marriage covenant is what, there was no such thing as a marriage license until after the war, Civil War. So I had an annulment done for Mary and I, sent it to her, and said I'll still take it back, and I would still take her back today, if she would come.
That's the second wife that Kent, in the span of like 5 minutes, has said he would take back. 2 women he's begging to come back to him. I wonder if he does the same to Cindy.
I made a promise to Mary till death do us part, but she departed. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians, if the unbelieving depart, let him depart, a brother or sister is not under bondage.
It is not talking about what you think it's talking about, Kent. If an unbeliever in God, not an unbeliever in your wedding vows. That's you're wrong there. You're very wrong there, Kent. What a terrible thing to do with God's word.
By the way, Jesus called his own disciples unbelievers. Unbeliever doesn't mean unsaved. They just don't believe in their promises. Mary, you can come back today, okay?
Yeah, again, that's not at all what that passage is talking about. You're proof texting, and you're wrong.
Does anyone have any evidence that I did anything wrong in my marriage to Mary or to cause Mary to leave me? She departed,
Yep.
and I'm not under bondage, 1 Corinthians 7:15.
Well, yeah, you are.
Did I do anything wrong there? Brady, you were in on that too. You saw the whole thing.
No, you did not.
Okay. So, I'm sorry. Mary, you left. If I was
I'm sorry you left. What? Okay, that doesn't even make sense.
if I was in a battlefield and driving a tank and fighting the enemy and my tank quit running or tread fell off,
Okay, so this is another thing, and I'm going to go ahead and get the video back to normal speed so we can really dissect some of this. Kent thinks he was a military man. I am a combat veteran. I served in Iraq from 2007-2008. Served honorably, was discharged honorably. I was military. Kent was not. Kent never has any military experience in his life, none whatsoever. But he always uses this analogy that he's the general and everybody should listen to him because we're at war. Yeah, you'll hear that one again here coming up pretty soon.
I'd go get another tank and keep fighting. There's a war going on, okay? Cindy had been working hard in the ministry for over a year. She tried hard to get. Cindy had been working hard in the ministry for over a year.
Do you hear the contempt there? Just saying the words, her name, just reeked of contempt. I don't know, maybe I'm looking too far into it, but that just didn't set right with me.
She tried hard to get Mary to come back. She and Mary were best friends. She was a great blessing to CSE and had a wonderful servant's heart. We fell in love after Mary left and had an annulment. Cindy and I got married and did not kiss until the wedding day.
I don't know about that, Kent. I really don't.
You skeptics, can you claim that? We're very happily married for over.
Wait, they didn't kiss their third wife before their fake third wedding? Yeah, I don't think anybody can say that. I really don't. That's pretty unique to you, Kent. Congratulations.
A year, and little issues began to bring anger outbursts from her.
Little issues? No, they were not little issues. They were big issues, like your boy Steve calling her an effing B-word to her face while you stood there smirking. It's not a little issue.
Her involvement in, I told her to manage the science center, but she also wanted to manage lots of other things, it seemed like. Tell everybody else how to do their job. I say, Cindy, stop. No.
She was your helper. Your helper. She took the burden off of you so you wouldn't have to deal with those things. She was dedicated to that ministry, Kent. Dedicated. Wow.
No, you don't do that job. You do this job. And little things would just bring an anger outburst from her. My attorney said, Kent, record every time she does this for your protection. Cindy, so.
Who said that, Kent? Who told you to record 615 recordings? Ugh. Weird.
Sold her house in California that her dad had given her and bought 3 houses here and donated money to the ministry. She was a great blessing in many ways, but her violent outbursts were over generally petty things like leadership.
When was she violent? When was Cindy ever violent? You've never accused Cindy of being violent before just now.
Decisions and CSE staff conflicts were more common, became more common. October of 20.
Well, that's because of Steve Lynn and Ernie and you, not because of Cindy.
October 25th, this happened. The body slamming incident. It's even up on the atheist website. I don't know why she's going to atheist websites to post this kind of stuff.
Because you delete comments that you don't like. You don't answer questions that you don't like. You shame people who are critical of your behavior, which is atrocious. It makes sense to me.
But she is. Okay. Let me find how I can play that clip. A 3-minute clip of the so-called body slam.
No, you
Let's
can't
see.
play
How do
it.
I do that?
You don't know. Neither does your
I
tech
think
guy.
I go.
Oh, I think I go.
No. Escape. I've got it. Here's the link to it. Right here. Tell you what, you can go to that link. It's on several things. If you go to some of the websites that are talking about me, I got to find that. Maybe Steve can help me here.
Don't worry, Kent. I got it right here.
Space bar. Okay.
Want me to play it?
Yeah. Can you play it, brother?
Yeah, hold on.
I was coming out of the bedroom. We're having an argument over something. I forget. And she started saying, I said, Cindy, I have to record this when you get out of hand like this. She started screaming and cursing, saying, give me that blankety blank phone. I'm going to break it in half and throw it down the toilet, flush it down the toilet. I said, no, Cindy, I'm sorry, you can't have my phone. I tried to just get outside, okay? Here is where the incident took place in our kitchen. She was trying to grab my phone, and we were in the little hallway, but headed out to the door. And you can hear her. Steve gets it called up there. So she's claiming I body slammed her. And I did not. I have sworn I did not do that. I finally got on the other side toward the door trying to get out. She was diving for my phone. And as she fell toward me, I pushed her off of me. And she hit that little ledge, as you see there on the left. There were some bells on it at the time. And you can hear the bells ringing in the clip. And then she hit the floor. I immediately helped her up. Cindy, are you okay? And I helped her up. She got angry and began slamming chairs down. Cindy, this is a body slam, okay?
There they are.
I took wrestling in high school. This is a body slam, Cindy, okay? This is a body slam. I did not body slam you. Go ahead. Can you play it there, brother? You find it, Steve?
Well, they're gonna try to play it, but here goes.
Yeah,
While
I'm
you
getting
Turn
ready to
off
play
the
it right
damn
now.
recorder.
Okay, play it right now. This is the 3-minute clip that she's claiming I body slammed her. Won't do that.
Obviously you don't care.
Well, let's get
You
it.
have no heart.
No, I care very much.
You have no heart.
Get another witness in here. Then.
You have no heart.
And she's claiming this on atheist websites to try to make me look bad. Of all the places to go, Cindy.
You have no love. Number one fan. Holy Spirit. Number one heart. Damn recorder.
Give me the damn recorder.
Hate! I hate you!
I've done nothing but good.
Yes! Oh, that is a big lie!
I don't understand why you let the bitterness rule in your heart.
Because you are ugly!
What have I done ugly to you?
Why are you recording?
Because listen, I have to protect myself.
That's a lie! That is a lie! Get out! Get out! Get out!
This is my house.
Damn phone!
What are you doing, Cindy?
Gee whiz, what are you doing, Cindy? Yeah, let's compare that to what he says that he said.
Steve, just insert it in here when you edit this, okay?
Yeah, I already got it. Don't worry, Kent.
Can you do that, Steve?
No. Anyway, you're gonna see this fiasco of them trying to edit it in or play or whatever. I don't know what the problem was. It's not that hard, but apparently it is.
Can you hear me?
Okay, you're back.
Okay. Steve, just edit that in so people can hear that. Now, yesterday, 2 days ago, Joe, who is visiting here from New Mexico, came into the kitchen. We're sitting there having coffee. He said, hang on. Oh. He said, Brother Hovind, Cindy told me after this happened that you did not body slam her. I said, really? I'm not sure how to call it. Joe, you're here over here for coffee with me this morning, and
All right, I'm gonna pause it right there and bring something up. I made a post not too long ago. It was July 13th. Today is the 24th, so 11 days. So what you see here is the video that Kent's about to reference. I went ahead and made a post about it. This guy wasn't anywhere near Dinosaur Adventureland when the body slam took place, but I think the substance that Kent is trying to get at is that this man says that Cindy, well, here we'll let them speak for themselves, and maybe you can point out the glaring contradiction. If not, I will do it for you. Here we go.
When she went to the chiropractor, I think she said, or the
about a
doctor,
week later, 10 days later, yeah.
that he said it looked like she got body slammed.
So he said it looked like she got body slammed. That would be the chiropractor. That's what Joe has to say. What did Kent have to say about the same situation just days before in his Zoom conference 1? Let's find out.
She several days later went to the chiropractor and told him she got body slammed. So he
Oh, so she told the chiropractor she got body slammed. Well, which one was it? Did the chiropractor tell Cindy that it looked like she got body slammed like Joe said? Or did it happen like you say, and that she told the chiropractor she looked like she was body slammed? Wow. Yeah, I don't think that one worked out too well for you, Kent, but I'll let you go ahead and play it.
You said Cindy told you the same story that I told you about, that it wasn't a body slam.
It wasn't a body slam.
Until she made that up much later. Okay, go ahead. Tell your side. What happened again, right here?
But we were talking about, because he has separated, and me and my wife were separated.
Uh-huh.
She said you guys were having a
Okay, so basically what we have here are two men with wives who have left them. I'll let you draw your own conclusions.
discussion in the room. Okay? I don't
Cindy and I were having a discussion right here.
in
Yeah.
the room. And then, like, you pull out your phone and started recording.
Yeah.
And she said, that little oh
Yeah.
was recording me, so that you ended up somehow going outside to get away from the.
Right.
Clean your room, Bill. Come on, dude.
I was trying to get outside to get away from her. I was right here. Okay. And she was reaching.
She came, this is what she told me.
Yeah.
She came and was trying to reach for your phone.
Right. And I was holding the phone up over my.
I wonder who that young man was. Who knows?
Head like this.
Yeah, and then she was trying to reach it. Well, somehow you probably pushed her, bounced off of you. She said she wasn't sure.
Okay.
She goes, but she ended up hitting.
Hit this rail right here, and there were some little bells on here somebody gave us for Christmas
Yeah.
or something. Okay.
So she said she was hurting for a couple of days, went to the chiropractor.
Wait a minute. And when she fell, she hit this ledge, and then she hit the floor.
Right.
And you can hear it on the tape. I said, Cindy, are you okay? And I helped her up.
Right.
Right there. There's the lie. Did you see it? Do you remember what he said earlier? Let me pull that back up for you. Let's just go over that one more time.
This is my house.
Damn phone.
Gee whiz, Kent says.
What are you doing, Cindy?
What are you doing, Cindy? Kent says. Oh, I can't stand it. Now let's see what he's saying he said now.
Okay. And then she slammed, and you can hear.
The chiropractor.
Wait a minute. And when she fell, she hit this ledge, and then she hit the floor.
Right.
And you can hear it on the tape. I said, Cindy, are you okay? And I helped her up.
Right.
Bull, feces, excrement. I don't want to curse, but I'm tempted. Kent, you're a liar.
Okay. And then she
This is
slammed.
the same story she's telling
And then
me.
she slammed all these chairs down on the floor. You can hear all that loudly on that.
She didn't tell me about that.
Yeah, Cindy said she was throwing the chairs at you because she was in fear for her life. Yeah, so I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
She said she was screaming and hurting when she went to the chiropractor, I think she said, or the
About a week
doctor,
later, 10 days later.
that he said it looked like she got body slammed. So she goes, no, I did not get body slammed. I was trying to take my husband's phone away. She goes, and I hit, you pushed her to the rail. That was her story.
Oh, okay.
But there was no body slam.
Oh.
But she, at the same time, she said she didn't know if it was you pushing her, protecting yourself.
Yeah.
That's what she was trying to say, you know. and
Right.
She went a little wild.
She was real wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what she got her body slam was from her doctor. She told me this straight on the phone.
Okay.
Same story you told me.
Yeah.
I never told you this until last time I was here, which was a month and a half, 2 months later.
Uh-huh.
You told me the same story.
Right.
Now the story has switched.
Well, she is still.
Right, Kent's story has switched. You're right about that, Joe. You're right.
Telling everybody I body slammed her.
Now, she told me a long time ago, like it wasn't the
Yep.
body slam.
Okay. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
What did that prove? That proved nothing. That proved that Kent is a liar. Wow.
Okay. So let me get back to where we're going here. PowerPoint. There. Body slam. I guess I got to drag that back over here. All right. All right, folks, it is, no, there, played. Okay. She threw the chairs down. You can hear that, slamming the chairs down. Let's see. And you can hear that on the audio tape.
I Like, how hard would it be to just throw chairs on the floor and take a picture and say somebody did it? That's not hardly evidence of anything. And besides, Cindy says that she was throwing the chairs in self-defense because she was in fear for her life. I don't see a problem with throwing chairs when somebody's trying to body slam. It seems appropriate and reasonable.
And many others have said, and Joe's wife, who is bipolar, said, Cindy,
Is she? Do you know that? Are you a psychiatrist? What is this? Who are you doctor? Are you doctoring now? Are you giving a diagnosis? Or are you just blowing smoke? I think you're blowing smoke. In fact, this is called gaslighting. Pay attention.
is bipolar. Joe's wife is here, staying in cabin 6. She said, my dad is bipolar. I know what bipolar is. That's what Cindy has. Cindy will deny it and get angry. But signs of bipolar.
I know what a car is. Does that make me a mechanic? Ugh, what a bad argument.
Extremely high energy, grandiose levels of self-esteem, loud, rapid speech, very little need for sleep, okay? Extreme high energy, engaging in risky behaviors, let's see, little or no sleep. But the
It sounds like you're describing yourself, Kent. It really does.
depressive side, there are two different personalities. Once they get into the depressive side, they have feelings of lethargy, both physically and mentally, a sense of personal worth, eating too much, worthlessness, overwhelming sadness, thoughts
This
of
guy's been
suicide.
eating this whole video.
What triggered me?
I don't know if
People
you've
that have
noticed.
bipolar or mental illnesses get
eat,
triggered, or
eat,
something
eat.
triggers them, and bang, they go off, okay? Maybe because they felt excluded or felt powerless or felt disrespected or felt ignored or felt manipulated, felt unloved, whatever it is, okay? Disruptive mood dysregulation disorder, DMDD, big name for it, okay? What causes this? The temper outbursts with chronic irritability. Listen to the tapes. I've got 615 of them, Steve. If we have to, we'll post them all, okay? I don't want to do that. I don't want to hurt Cindy's reputation. She's a wonderful woman in many ways. But she has something wrong, and she goes off, screaming, yelling, cursing, using God's name in vain. Introduced to address pediatric bipolar disorder controversy. All have 4 irritability and temper outbursts. All 4 have irritability and temper outbursts, okay? Anger management. Do you have an anger problem? Okay, I would say yes, she does, okay, after living with her for 3 years. Disruptive mood dysregulation disorder. Okay. Severe recurrent temper outbursts manifest verbally and or behaviorally. Physical aggression towards people or property. She was determined to get my phone that day.
Yeah, because why were you recording her? Why not just talk to your wife? She didn't want to be recorded. It was obviously triggering her. You could have put the phone down and spoken to your wife like a human being.
And are grossly out of proportion or intensity or duration to the situation. A temper outbursts are inconsistent with developmental level. Means they're acting like a child. They should be a grown adult, but they're screaming like a child, okay? Temper outbursts average 3 to 4 times a week. The mood between outbursts is persistently irritable or angry most of the day, nearly every day. It's observable by others. People see it. Something's wrong. I would guess that over half of the last year of our marriage, she got angry over something and slept in the other room. I have over 600 recordings of her yelling, cursing, being out of control. In February, she left and has not been back. After months of trying, the board recommended that we annul the marriage, file an annulment. So, did I do anything at fault that anybody can say for Cindy leaving?
Yes. Lots. For starters, you body slammed her. That kind of sucks.
She did not leave over the money. This was October last year. I kept paying her monthly payment until May 2 months ago. So money had nothing to do with this. Body.
I just want to point out right there, he admits to paying her monthly payment, which would imply that there was some sort of an agreement, like maybe a loan? Okay.
Slamming. I did not body slam.
Yeah,
Body
you
slam
did.
incident was in October, way before there were any money complaints, since I paid her $1,300 a month till May. Cindy did not loan any money to the ministry. She bought stuff. She keeps saying, I loaned them $130,000. Cindy, you didn't loan a dime. You bought things. Some things we asked you to buy. Other things you just went and bought. You kept adding it to the bill. Cindy broke her marriage covenant that was made 3 years ago, way before any other problems. She left. February, no reason to leave. Here's the contract that she keeps saying we had. Ernie signed this contract. Constitution of the United States, Article 1, Section 10. Sorry, I photocopied it crooked here. In order to contract for support of the spouse of Dr. Kent Hovind and to incorporate such support into his intellectual property. This was clearly spousal support taken out of my intellectual property. When people buy my DVDs, that money goes into a separate fund. That's my intellectual property. And we paid her from that, okay? Ernie signed that right there. But since she's no longer spouse, she left, the contract is null and void.
How slimy. How slimy.
Cindy, you broke the contract. As far as the one Ernie had, it was for social support. Couldn't be more clear. I intended mine to be that. I didn't get those words in there, but that was the intent all along, that as long as you stay as my wife, I'll keep giving you $1,300 a month for the rest 400 years, okay? $1,300 a month, allowing you allow the use of the credit card to spend out of my intellectual support, out of intellectual property, money. So
notice how he trips over where the money's coming from and how it's being spent. That's because it's all a bunch of shells. You got CSEM, CSEI, CSEF, CSE non-statutory. Yeah, it's obfuscation at its finest. And why would somebody do that if they're running a legitimate ministry? Begs the question.
Ernie's contract was clearly for spousal support, and she left, so she broke that contract last February. I kept paying her till May, plus $1,600 more dollars, $16,000 more dollars. When I sold the motorhome, I gave her all $10,000. When I sold my scooter, gave her the whole $5,000. Cindy, don't tell.
See, when you sold the motorhome, what are you talking about? Who'd you sell the motorhome to? Because Ernie bought the motorhome back from me. Ernie wrote me a check for $4,400 and Cindy a check for $5,600. So, what are you talking about? You gave the money, $10,000 to Cindy. Seems like you're lying again, Kent.
Tell people I stole any money from you. I did not.
I don't believe you.
Here's the contract between me and Cindy, okay?
A contract between me and Cindy, me being Kent, obviously, and not myself. This is a contract that he just admitted to being between him and his wife. $1,300 a month. Yeah, it's kind of hard to read, but let's hear.
She said it will be $1,300 a month from said ministry for personal use for 21 years.
Let's see. That seems fair considering she donated well over $130,000. Yeah, seems fair to me.
$1,300 a month for 21 years is $300 and some thousand.
Yeah, well, interest is a real and it doesn't matter. You signed it. You did sign this.
Whoa.
Yep.
Well,
there it is.
I signed it.
Yep.
Ernie never did.
It wasn't a contract between Ernie and Cindy and you. It was a contract between you and Cindy saying that you would pay her. Well, let's
And he
go
said,
back.
no, we can't. Whoa.
What is it?
Well, for 21 years
$1,300 a
is
month for 21
$300 and some
years.
thousand.
So you've already agreed to pay her back $300 and something thousand. You signed it.
Whoa.
Right there.
Well, I signed it. Ernie never did. Ernie said, no, we can't make that contract because this is like she's asking for an annuity. And Ernie came on the program last time and said, sorry, we cannot do an annuity. We're not set up that way.
You already signed it.
We would get in trouble with some kind of government regulating agency. So,
Ooh. Why don't you just do things legally and you won't have to worry about getting in trouble with some kind of agency?
this contract was never in force, but 21 years. Cindy, right there. My contract was never signed by Ernie since I forgot to put spousal support in there, and because it was like an annuity. So there's
It doesn't matter. You signed it.
never been a valid contract, Cindy. In spite of that, I kept my word.
A handshake in the state of Alabama is a valid contract, Kent. You should read the law.
I gave you $1,300 a month for 2 years, okay? These are the grand total of donations before the agreement. She did donate $90,000. She was my wife. I've put everything into this ministry. Normally, when couples marry, they join finances, join everything, you know. She did not. She kept hers separate, but she did. Very generous. Bought 3 houses, and we put a lot of money into those houses. Jeff, you went over there and worked on some of those houses. Yeah, we sent our staff over there to work on her houses.
So, you were just talking to Jeff. I'm assuming Jeff is in the audience. What happened to this being a board member and trustee meeting, Kent? Why do you have an audience for this, Kent?
Rental houses. Okay, now after the agreement, she says she bought the van for $24,000. I agree. That white van I'm driving, she paid $24,000 for it. I knew I was borrowing $25,000 for the van, and I paid it back very quickly. I did not know I was borrowing money for my own underwear and my coffee. Look at the bottom one. $48 for Doc's underwear and laundry soap and coffee. She just kept buying things, adding it to this list, and she would buy things, and oh, the Doc
That was the agreement, Kent. That was the agreement that you signed.
needs new underwear, so she'd go buy some. He needs coffee. Yeah, let's see. We need plants. Doc has leg cramps, and so let's buy him some minerals, $45. She bought the Yamaha for $17,000. It's actually a Yanmar. I agree. I paid her back $50,000 already.
50,000, huh? I'd really like to see that.
What other stuff she bought? Let's see. Toilet plunger, $13. You realize if I'm going to pay back 2.5 times, which is what the interest amounts to, that's an expensive toilet plunger. But she just kept buying things that she never gave money. She bought stuff. And
Stuff that had value, that you needed and you wanted and you approved.
thank you for that. We needed a toilet plunger. Thank you. Okay. So she says grand total. Look at this. 2019 total donations after agreement. Can anybody see that? This is Cindy's text. She said all of them were donations.
Clearly a misspeak. Clearly. Look at the contract that you signed.
But now they end up on a so-called bill that she wants paid back. I paid her back $50,000, which she never mentions when she tells her sob story.
Yeah, going back to that bill, that's not a contract. Bills can have mistakes on them. They can be corrected. You did not sign that as a binding contract. Neither did Cindy.
Goes on the atheist channels and says, yeah, he took $133,000 of mine. That number changes all the time. I've
I don't think she ever sounded like that, but yeah, okay.
seen it all the way from 90,000 to 200,000. Cindy, what about the 50 I gave you?
What about it? Do you have an accounting of that, Kent?
She doesn't mention that.
Probably because it never happened.
She's done great damage to the ministry.
Great damage. What damage has Cindy done? What damage, Kent? You can't just say that and not back it up. So, what damage?
It's cost many thousands to replace her in the job she was doing.
The job that you took away from her on an almost daily basis, you would reprimand her to the housework, and not being able to talk to anybody, which was her job, was helping to communicate. Okay.
And many people have said, Kent, call it even, call it quits. With the damage you've already paid her 50, and the damage she's done, call it even.
What does that even mean? What does that even mean? And who said that? Who said it?
Alex, maybe you can weigh in on that sometime.
Yes, what I see is that in all failed relationships, some fault lies with each party. But at the
Hey, some rationality has been brought to the discussion. Thank you, Alex.
end of the day, this appears to be an issue of money.
Notice how Kent squirms after that. Let's go back. I want to watch that again.
Weigh in on that sometime.
Yes, what I see is that in all failed relationships, some fault lies with each party. But at the end of the
Ooh.
day, this appears to be an issue of money more than it is of marital infidelity or even domestic violence or even.
How could you say it's not about domestic violence? You heard the audio. You heard the accusations of a body slam. Of course it's about domestic violence.
Deceit or substance abuse.
Lots of deceit. Lots of deceit.
It seems to be about money. And at the end of the day,
Right.
I remember you said that marriage, both parties put everything in. And, it's very telling. This is almost like what we might expect to see in a courtroom. And but this is not a courtroom. This is a private opportunity to make ourselves heard. Cindy made herself heard. Pastor's making himself heard.
Why do you still call him pastor, Alex? Why? Why do you do that? You know what's going on here. We've spoken. You're not ignorant. Stop with the act.
We kind of take both versions and we try and put them together and find a middle ground and hopefully reconcile. But at the end of the day, it does seem to be a dollar amount that seems to be at issue here. And
No, it's pride. It's definitely pride. And both sides are guilty.
that coffee and underwear, that's, it does seem that something in the accounting got mixed up somewhere, because I just can't imagine how that would get in there, or even the minerals for your your leg cramps. It seems like there was definitely a misunderstanding at several points in the process. Nevertheless, I'm concerned that Miss Lincoln has been had took the first step to attack you, Pastor. I can't see it any other way.
She took the first step to attack him. Is that really what happened?
Hate! I hate you!
I've done nothing but good.
Yes! Oh, that is a big lie!
I don't understand why you let the bitterness rule in your heart.
Because you are ugly!
What have I done ugly to you?
Why are you recording?
Because this is, I have to protect myself.
That's a lie! That is a lie! Get out! Get out! Get out!
This is my house!
Damn phone!
What are you doing, Cindy?
So, yes, there was an attack. Kent did body slam Cindy. You can hear that clearly in the audio. Sure, she was angry, but she was triggered. Kent knew that Cindy did not want to be recorded. Everybody knew that Cindy did not want to be recorded. She was very vocal about not wanting to be recorded. And it was a sore spot for everybody. Cindy didn't want to be recorded, but Kent insisted on recording her over 615 times. So yes, understandably, she was upset. But that's no excuse to physically assault a weaker person.
She starts publishing things. She's going to these atheist websites, and it seems like she's on a tear, and that's brought you to where you are today. Done this, and Ms. Lincoln had not done this, and that everyone could just keep it between, in house more so. But it's gotten out of hand. That's why you're doing this today.
I know. I didn't want it to get out of the house. I thought we could settle it. She has insisted that I pay her $133,000 to make her whole from the money she loaned to the ministry. She did not loan any money. She bought stuff and added it to the bill. I've been paying her $1,300 a month for 21 years. If I did, that would be $327,000, 2.5 times more than I so-called borrowed. She paid $200 and some for my own birthday party, put that on the list. Why would I pay back $500 for my own birthday party?
Well, Pastor, we tried to have a promissory note prepared and signed by you, promising to pay. The amounts were always at issue. We tried to document a resolution, but it didn't happen. And so, I invite the parties to try to do that again. We even tried to get life insurance for you, Pastor, so that if something happened to you, Miss Lincoln can have a support. Because my assessment of what has happened has been maybe you were disorganized to some extent by not being clear in your accounting, but you were in no time did you mean to deceive or even manipulate or take advantage of Miss Lincoln, as she seems to feel? And
Right.
I don't want to discredit her feelings or discount her feelings, but you know, I'm just looking at it from the outside looking in. I just, yeah, okay, so you could have been a little more clear in your designation of how monies were received
Yeah.
and maybe spent, but
Ken is not liking how this is going.
at no time should that justify uh, war. You mentioned the tank scenario. It seems like we're at war here. Why
Yep.
are we here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm at
Why
war
is
with
this happening?
I'm at war with the devil, and I'm in a ministry, and I need a wife. Okay, that's
What? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm at war with the devil, and I'm in a ministry, and I need a wife? I mean, are you still trying to narcissise your way through 1 Timothy 3? I mean, it does say the husband of one wife, a bishop must be blameless, the husband of one wife. That doesn't mean that you have to have a wife. That means that if you do have a wife, you should have one and not three.
why it says that the leader of the ministry should be the husband of one wife. That's why I brought
That's not what it says. It says a bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach, not given to wine, no striker, not greedy of filthy lucre. Well, let's just go on with this video.
up that analogy. Okay, I see Bill Sardi is on. Bill, I don't know if you caught the point about what happened with Eric and the property. You were very involved in that.
See, that's just it. Alex was really striking a nerve with Kent, and I did comment he wasn't liking that. So what does Kent do? Instead of addressing Alex's concerns, he goes to Bill. Oh, and let's just hear what Bill has to say, because he plays right into this strategy.
Eric simply signed all the Pensacola properties over to himself. Did I do anything wrong in that situation with Eric and Joe, Bill, that you know of? We've known each other for what, 30 years? You're muted there, brother. Hit the mute button.
Common theme with the sound issues. It's really not that hard to turn your microphone on.
We can't hear you. Oh, Bill, does he have to hit that button in the corner? You got to hit that button in the corner, Bill, that mute button, that microphone. Yeah, we can't hear you talk ever. Oh, we can't hear you talking, Bill. Hit the mute button.
How about that?
There you go. Perfect. Okay.
All right.
So the question was, I went over the whole scenario of how I went to prison. Eric started a new ministry, raised money with my mailing list to buy the properties back for Dad, had $300-some thousand donated to him that he spent and did get the properties back, would put him in his new ministry's name. And so, Bill, you were involved in all this. Did I do anything wrong with Eric or the ministry there or with Joe to cause her to divorce me?
You didn't even have opportunity to do wrong. I have hosted many members of the family, the Hovind family, at my own home. I intimately know all the members of the Hovind family. I have.
What do you mean by intimately know? That's a strong implication there, Bill.
Written extensively and researched extensively that issue. Unfortunately, everyone was fooled. The government, the Internal Revenue Service, was after and pursuing conservative groups at the time. This was Lois Lerner scandal, Internal Revenue Service. Wall Street Journal said that people were having funds confiscated unfairly because of a law called structuring. The government accused Kent Hovind and the ministry of something called structuring, which is making bank deposits below $10,000 so it wouldn't be recorded. This was a legislation or a practice of the IRS in order to catch drug runners. It wasn't meant to catch evangelists. And so their whole idea originally going into court was tax evasion when it was tax avoidance. It wasn't Kent Hovind's taxes. It was the FICA deductions from the payroll checks at Creation Science Evangelism. When they got into court, the very employees of CSE said they were paying their own taxes, so their case fell apart, and they had to dig up this structuring charge of the less than $10,000 payments to avoid reporting requirements. And then they put him in jail for 10 years for this, as well as confiscated properties and did all these things. And then, of course, 10 years later, many people, including myself, donating money to.
I just wanted to bring that graphic up to show you that, well, this was taking place in 2012. It had an impact on the 2012 election. Lois Lerner was not even part of that. The whole Kent going to prison, his conviction, his troubles with the IRS. That wasn't her deal. Bill Sardi, you are not being candid about that whatsoever. And for those of you that don't know, that means, Bill, you're lying.
Help Kent Hovind, and it turns out it was Eric Hovind decided to keep the checkbooks, keep all the money, keep the ministry. We were donating it to Kent Hovind. It went to Eric Hovind, who decided to start his own ministry.
That's because Kent had driven his ministry into the ground and had the properties confiscated by the government. That's what happened.
And I said I thought this was somewhat of a deception or a fraud even, that all of us were giving to Kent Hovind, and then it never got there, and it was going to Eric, who started his own separate ministry.
Did you really think that your precious money went to this man in prison? What did you think that money was going to do? Just sit in an account while he rotted away in prison? No, of course Eric took the money and bought back the property. That's what he was tasked to do by his father. That's, again, you're being dishonest.
And then when Kent Hovind got off out of prison, then he was left with a cell phone, and that's it. And in my
Left with a cell phone and that's it? I mean, care to elaborate more on that? What about his underwear? He's always talking about his underwear. Did he have underwear? I mean, you really want to get into specifics? You're going to say he was left with a cell phone? Yeah. Tell the truth, Bill. Tell the truth.
My analysis, Eric Hovind made a deal with the devil. I believe I was told there were 10 properties. The IRS kept 10. They gave 10 to Eric, and I'm sure they made some sort of a deal that they wouldn't.
Actually, Glenn Stoll attempted to maintain 9 of the properties so that they wouldn't be confiscated, but his trusts are shammy, and he was actually convicted this year of doing shammy stuff, defrauding the government through these sketchy trusts. So your facts are wrong, Bill. You don't know what you're talking about. Eric was able to save his home from being confiscated, and that was the only property that was not confiscated.
Bother him as long as he it didn't cooperate with his own father, and he would get to keep those properties as long as he didn't create trouble for the IRS. So
he bought those properties back from the government. What are you talking about?
This whole thing played out. It was the government that was the bad guy. They were the villain. And the Hovind family completely confused and also had a motive. They wanted the checkbook and the income stream, and they didn't want to give that up when Kent Hovind got out of jail. And here's what happened.
What does that even mean? What does that even mean? How are they getting paid while Kent was in prison? It costs money to imprison people. It's actually quite expensive.
So unfortunately, all the donors for 10 years were giving money to Kent Hovind. It never got there. And I believe some of that money still was used. Kent Hovind was trying to help prisoners as they got out of jail, out of prison. And
if you're going to make a claim like that, Bill, you better be able to back it up.
A little bit of that money, by his instruction, was helping them and so on. But other than that, I'm not aware of any of all the money that all of us gave got in, to help.
What are you aware of, Bill?
Kent Hovind get out of jail or anything. It was all helping Eric Hovind and his separate new ministry. So I believe that has never been dealt with. All of those properties should be handed back to Kent Hovind, in my opinion. It's just a moral obligation. And I don't know about legal, because everything's illegal with the Internal Revenue Service once they're involved. Anyway, that's my take on the story. And I'm sorry that those things happened. And, you know, there are things that are regrettable in life. We need to go back and fix those things. And we're still years after that occurred, but that still needs to get fixed.
Amen. Thank you, brother.
What does that have to do with Cindy? Your whole little monologue there was pointless.
Appreciate it. So here's some questions I wanted to ask Cindy. How did you get the donor list of the current donors? She's been
How do you know that she has the donor list?
calling all of our current donors, saying stop supporting them.
Actually, I have about 100 phone numbers in my phone of people that I've met through my years at Dinosaur Adventureland. And yes, I've been calling them. And yes, they've been withdrawing their donations. Because your friends are all pedophiles, and you steal money from your wife, and you body slam her, you're a terrible, terrible person. Nobody wants to give you money once they know the true Kent Hovind. That's why your money's drying up. That's why you're desperate and you're out here lying with your little henchmen that don't have a clue what's going on. I actually feel sorry for Alex because he really doesn't know. He's trying. I commend you for that, Alex. Thanks for trying.
Discourage them from supporting.
Yeah. Your organization is not worth supporting.
Should any loss of income due to her calls be deducted from the amount that she feels she is due?
Nope.
Alex, others have said, hey, Kent, she's done more damage than $50,000. You paid her $50. If she says you're $130, you're close to even or done. Just forget it. You have any thoughts on that?
My thoughts are that a fact finder would have to do an accounting, maybe even audit all the money coming in, all the money that went out, and maybe.
That's a great idea. Let's audit Dinosaur Adventureland and CSE and Ernie Land and Steve Lynn and Kent Hovind, Brady Byrum, all of these people, all of them. This guy too, especially this guy.
Try and assign donations maybe on one side, maybe gifts on the other, and miscellaneous in the third column. And then the fact finder would have to decide. And, there will be disagreements. Both parties will not agree on everything. No, that was not a gift. That was a donation. No, that was not a donation. That was a gift. Each party will bear have to present their evidence. And whoever, and now we're hoping it doesn't get to a judge, a circuit, or a state judge, because then it's out of our hands.
I really kind of do hope it gets to a judge, because that means it's a lawsuit, and that means discovery, which is a wonderful thing.
You see, litigants never want to avoid going before the court at as much as possible, only because then they don't decide. See, right now, the parties can decide on how this can go. But if the parties don't sort it out, then it gets in the hands of a judge. And then that's it. You can only try and persuade the court. But it's really the decisions beyond you at that point.
Well, I didn't want any of this exposed. I tried to, even after she left me in February, I kept paying her for several more months and said, Cindy, this whole contract was for spousal support. You're no longer spouse, honey. I can't keep supporting you.
Then why did you? If she was no longer spouse, why did you continue to support her? Ugh.
When you're not here. And she is still to this day furious and going to atheist websites. I'm just baffled that she would do this. Let's see. The Bible is pretty clear on that. Slide number 111, Alt-DV 111, enter. Dare any of you having a matter against another go to law before the unjust?
Kent, you're unjust.
1 Corinthians 6. Brother goeth to law with brother before the unbelievers.
Kent, you're an unbeliever.
She's searching through the website or through the YouTube channels. Anybody that's been to Dinosaur Adventureland and put up a video saying, oh, I loved it, my kids had a good time there, she's posting comments at the bottom.
Me too. I'm doing the same thing.
Saying, don't go. It's evil. They stole $133,000 from me. She's going to Atheist Junior's website, who had, 50 viewers until she started going, and now he's got 100. He's all excited. The fact that she went straight to atheist channels to air her complaint should send up a giant red flag.
Why? Why should that send up a red flag, Kent? Why?
Contrary to Kent's words, there are tons of evidence Kent body slammed me. She posted that just 2 days ago. She's still claiming I body slammed her. Here's Atheist
Because you did.
Junior. I debated him once, really embarrassed him. Atheist Junior, anytime, son.
Look at you, mocking. You don't love anybody. You don't love this man. You love that man. You don't love any of these people. You have no love.
Have debate round 2, okay? Why would you go to an atheist channel? She went about somebody did a whole website about the boy that drowned here at our lake. I called the dad 2 days ago. Said he paid after the drowning. He knew it was his twin boy, 7 years old, that one was hyperactive. Apparently came up under the dock, hit his.
See, Kent's lying. He wasn't there. I was there. Kent was not. He's lying. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Head went back down. Nobody saw him. People were
Yeah. Nobody saw him. That's right, Kent.
swimming there. The dad was right there. I wasn't there. As soon as we got
Oh, yes, first glimmer of truth. I wasn't there. That's right, Kent. You were not there.
him out of the lake, our doctor was right there on the scene.
No, she wasn't.
Tried to revive him, took him to the hospital. He died. The dad
He did die. That was a very abbreviated version of the story that you weren't there to know.
donated money to build the gazebo at the end of the dock. That was his.
Yeah, funny story. When he showed up to build the gazebo, you had no idea. You didn't even remember who he was.
His dad paid for that in honor of his son. He's not angry. It's you idiot atheists that are angry trying to find something bad about us, like we did something wrong.
I think everybody is angry at the loss of life of a young little boy that could have been prevented had you taken simple precautions, Kent. Lifeguards, life jackets, non-slip surfaces on your pier, where the kid probably slipped and fell. I mean, come on. Yes, people are angry. It's normal to be angry when unnecessary loss of life happens.
People drowned in lakes and beaches all the time.
And people get angry about that too.
It wasn't anybody's fault. It was an accident, okay? But on this Dinosaur Adventureland drowning website, Cindy
I just want to add it's a preventable tragedy. A little more than an accident.
posted her thing. She said, Doc says this whole place was built by volunteers and donations. Actually, 133,000 of it was on a 20-year contract with me, which Dr. Hovind and Ernie Land have breached and frauded and stolen from me. $133,000.
Sounds about right.
Breached the contract, frauded the original contract to include hidden loopholes, intentionally to mislead me, and stole the money.
Sounds accurate.
This is what she's posting on these sites. This Russian family came here a few days ago, did a video, loved the place. I interviewed for their Russian channel.
What does this have to do with anything?
Interview with Kent Hovind, my visit to Dinosaur Adventureland. Okay, Cindy posted it on there. Same, she's cutting and pasting the exact same thing. He stole the money.
Kent, you do that all the time. You went on a cutting and pasting tirade on YouTube when you decided to release your audio of you body slamming Cindy. Yeah, you did that. You put it on my channel. Go to my channel. Look on my other videos. Look in the comments. You'll see it. It's there. Because I don't delete comments, unlike Kent Hovind.
Okay, people who visit often post videos. Cindy's finding them and posting her same comments to try to discourage people from visiting or supporting the ministry. So I post this response now under her comment.
There it is.
Sadly, my wife Cindy left me February 2021 for no justifiable reason. She is now falsely claiming that I or the ministry stole $133,000 from her, and she's leaving comments to that effect on lots of YouTube videos posted online. She's been invited to be on our second conference call July 14th. That's today. Cindy, you didn't show up. With the ministry leaders, our attorney, and her counsel. Bring counsel to try to resolve the conflict. We will post it on Kent Hovind Official once it's finished. Many who know her well will testify Cindy has bipolar disorder and serious.
That's a lie. That's a lie. Go watch Cindy's video, and she goes over the surveys that you insisted, paid surveys. You paid people to take these surveys to determine whether or not Cindy was bipolar. And what happened with those surveys? they all backfired on you. Yeah.
Anger issues. My attorney, who will be on the call, that's Alex, told me to record every time she goes off. I've got 600 recordings.
Alex, did you really give him that advice? To record her 615 times? I mean, really, do you think she went off, goes off over 600 times? Come on, that's just, no, that's crazy.
Recordings like the one attached. I patiently put up with her anger, her cursing, her swearing for 3 years. I never left her, never hit her, never yelled at her, never threatened her. I never blocked her calls or texts. She has blocked me dozens of times, all of which she's done to me scores of times. I've never forced myself on her, and even since her leaving, I've invited her back scores of times. I'll go through my phone texts if you'd like. Nearly every day, Cindy, come on back. Let's go to dinner together. The ministry staff and elders are all amazed that I put up with her for so long. Brady, has that been your comment all along here? Why are you putting up with this?
Yes.
Have I been overly patient with this woman?
Actually, the general consensus around camp was, Cindy, why are you still here? How are you putting up with this? Because Kent, you're a terrible human being. It's bad. It's really bad.
Yes, you have.
Kelly, you're the secretary. Have I gone the second, third?
Hey, look, another audience member. Kelly, the secretary. Why are there so many people in this that are not part of the CSE board or leaders or directors or so-called elders that this man will get angry if you accuse him of having elders? That was a weird conversation.
Fourth, fifth mile, how far have I gone? Too far.
Too far.
Okay. Anyway, I did not want to go
I agree, Kent. You've gone too far. You've gone way too far.
public and harm her reputation in any way, and I didn't want to cast my pearls before swine like she's
Oh, yeah. Well, you're the swine, Kent. You're the swine.
done by going to atheist channels. But since she is posting things defaming me, I must defend myself in the ministry for the cause of Christ.
For the cause of Christ. No, for your own ego, Kent. You can't stand being called out for your wrongs. So you're defending your ego, not the cause of Christ, which I still want to know what that means. You've never defined it.
Here's a 3-minute audio clip of the event that she claims I body slammed her, and there's the link. You can click on that and hear it for yourself. I had borrowed $35,000 from her and paid her each month faithfully till May, over $50,000. So none of this can be tied to money since this happened back in October. At about the 1-minute mark, she lunged at me to get my phone and fell over my hip. She hit the shelf, which had little bells on it, hit the floor. She was screaming loudly for a while, showing she was not body slammed and out of breath.
How does screaming loudly show that she was not body slammed? How? Because when you listen to the audio, you can hear her accelerate to the floor in her voice. You can hear it. Listen closely. It's there.
Then I helped her up, and she angrily slammed the chairs to
No, you didn't. You said, gee whiz, what are you doing, Cindy?
the floor. I wish her no ill will and want her to serve the Lord. But Proverbs 22:20.
You want her to serve you, Kent. That's all you ever want, is people to serve you.
24 applies to women too. That one says, when you see an angry man, get away. Call me at 855-BIG-DINO, extension 3, if you got any questions. So that's my presentation, guys. I think I've gone the second, third, fourth mile, and I'm done. Okay?
No, you're not. You're never done, Kent. You're never done.
Anything else? Anybody want to put anything in? Bill?
It's regrettable that we have to do all these things. There's no intention from the board at CSE to slander any woman, any wonderful Christian woman.
You're about to do it. You're about to do it. Just listen closely, folks.
There's no intent but to repair, to retrieve, to do the things that erase everything and start over again. That's what Christianity is all about.
What are you talking
And
about?
so we want the slate to be cleared, and we want settlement. If it's just
Okay.
about money, I've proposed settlements to Cindy Lincoln. I proposed various things that can be done, or asked her to make a proposal in a settlement so that we do not go on this way. And of course, it seems like the story wants to continue rather than be resolved. And so if both sides are not seeking some sort of a settlement, as Christians, we're called on to do that outside of the civil law. Since we haven't reached agreement, I beg Cindy to go to court, file, and let's get this settled. And again, that hasn't been done, but that's been used as a threat, that I'm threatening to go to court, and I'm threatening to go to the public, and I'm threatening to go to your...
Well, because Kent stole Cindy's money, she can't afford an attorney. Attorneys are not cheap, and usually they won't take these kinds of cases on contingency. Tell you what, why don't you fork up the money for Cindy's attorney? Or why don't you just represent her, Alex? I mean, you're sitting there saying it's a threat. No, she wants to go to court. She wants to. She can't because you stole from her.
Donor list, and this is extortion. This is the truest example of extortion, and only a woman would get away with these things. No man would.
There's the sexism.
All right. Alex,
There's
I
the
asked you to
sexism.
send a proposal to Cindy about a week ago. I would like her to be made whole. There's no question she was generous with her money. I did not know I was borrowing money for my birthday party and my underwear, but it ended up on the list, and all kinds of things are on that list. I said, Alex, I bought a little John Deere tractor, and we has a brush hog on the back. She needs a tractor. She's got 9 acres over there on Highway 41. She needs to mow the field. I said the tractor and brush hog probably worth about $10,000. The Yanmar probably worth about $15,000. We will give her the Yanmar and the John Deere tractor.
You should give those to her anyway. I mean, that doesn't come anywhere near $300,000 that you signed a contract to repay her. But yeah, you should give those to her anyway, just because it's the right thing to do.
Didn't I? And pay her $500 a month for the next 10 months, another $5,000. Didn't I make that proposal, Alex, to you?
You did. Yeah, we sent it in writing. And it's important to note that we're trying. We're trying to keep this to where we can.
Alex is trying. I'll give him that. But the only thing Kent is trying is to keep his money. The only thing he's trying is to keep Kent looking good. And these guys, who even knows what they're trying?
Settle it. No one's going to be perfectly satisfied with any settlement. That's why it's called settlement. Each side gives a little. Each side moves towards the middle, and you got to give up some things. And but at the end of the day, what we're looking for is to restore the relationship. It's more than just a debt. It seems like this has gotten to the point where the marriage itself has been, if it was a marriage, because
it wasn't actually a marriage, because Kent was still married to Mary when he married Cindy. So, bigamy much?
An annulment would void it from its inception in a certain
Yeah, that's true. If you annul a marriage, it was never a marriage.
regard. Nevertheless, I'm not going to comment on the marital status of the parties. What I wish that we could have restored this relationship, this marriage. That was my hope.
Brady, any final words? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alex.
Why is it that Kent always cuts off Alex right when he's getting to the good stuff? Kent just has to cut him off. Brady?
No. And just finally, you threw that in there, but she has 9 acres. She has 3 homes. She has a life that she was trying to build, and maybe she's not destitute. She's not out on the street. She's not, she has sources of income. She has now. I understand that you want to do what's fair.
What sources of income does Cindy have that you know about, other than her $700 a month rental property? What are those sources?
And there may be monies owed. Well, then, how much is it? How can we start a payment plan without having to
Start a payment plan. Just continue the one that he had been paying. Just keep going. You signed the contract, Kent. Just do it. Just give her the check. Be done with it.
the atheists into this? Thank you. And I hope not to have offended anybody. I'm just trying to help. I know lawyers a lot of times are looked at as the bad guys, and sometimes they are. So sorry if I'm upsetting anyone. I'm just
Nope,
trying
you
to do
did
what I
great.
can to help. Thank you.
You did great. Okay, Brady, any final words?
I would like to add that Cindy generated a 6-page list of itemized amounts spent, totaling approximately $233,000, if I remember the number correctly. And she documented them all as donations.
Correct.
Donations are gifts. There's no expectation of a return on a donation or a gift. Under normal circumstances to normal people.
Again, that was an accounting, bill, what have you. It was not a contract. The contract was signed. It was clearly understood. Kent knew he was borrowing money. Kent knew it was a loan. That was his mindset. That was his intent. This whole hoopla about it being a donation because she misapplied a word on an accounting form doesn't make a hill of beans. It was a loan. Kent, pay her the money back.
Judge Judy and Judge Brown and numerous other, even the law shows that.
So yeah, Brady gets his law degree from TV. He doesn't have a law degree. He just watches TV.
The conflict resolution shows, those judges clearly state that one party cannot change the terms of something into something else without it being documented, written down, and both agreeing and signing to them. There was one other loan that wasn't covered in the discussion, and that was when you became ill and you had medical bills for $10,000 or some a number, very close to that, either a little under or a little over, and a request for that to be covered by Cindy was made, and that was paid back shortly thereafter. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
Cindy was given the RV, the motorhome, as repayment for Kent's medical bills after he had a stroke, a mini stroke, a transient ischemic attack, to be more precise, right on camera in front of everybody, and it was horrifying. We thought we were watching Kent die. But yeah, the repayment for the medical bills was the value of the motorhome, which, yeah, that's a whole nother deal. But no, she was not repaid immediately or paid back.
Okay.
All right.
So the actual loans were paid back, but the conversion of donations into a loan is
It's questionable.
not allowed by judges. Judges all the time rule you cannot do that.
All right, last one on my list. People accuse me of being a narcissist, someone who wants to be in control. I plead guilty to that one. I want to.
Well, the definition of a narcissist is not someone who wants to be in control. It's a lot more involved than that. And Kent, yes, you are a narcissist, and you're admitting to it right now, even though you falsely misrepresent the definition of the word. Own that.
Control. Okay. Any other questions? If you don't like
What's so funny? Oh, yeah, if you don't like it, go start your own ministry? Is that what you're going to say?
it, go start your own ministry.
How could I have guessed? Well, maybe it's because I've heard it a dozen times at least.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Sorry, but we're not going to make this public unless Cindy continues with her blasting me on the internet.
You had every intention of this being public, and it's still not even public. It's unlisted, but you shared it with everybody and sent links all over the internet, so it might as well be public. I'll be posting it on my channel as public, so you're welcome.
And this is the link we're going to send them.
Well, I'd like to add, in regards to being a narcissist, there's a lot of other bad stuff in addition to the desire for control. But every ship has a captain. Every
Let's listen to Brady stroke Kent's ego.
battalion, there's I don't know what the Army terms,
Yeah,
or Marine terms are, but there's always somebody that's in charge.
Right.
And if you don't.
Brady claims to be a Navy veteran, and he's over here saying, I don't know what the Army terms, I don't know what the Marines terms. Just use the terms you know, Brady. Come on.
You know, you've got to follow the one that's in charge. I mean, they're the one leading it. And if you don't,
And not when they're inviting pedophiles like yourself to camp. Not gonna follow that. Nobody should.
don't like what somebody is, how they're leading, then leave. Go start your own ministry.
Right.
Go do your own thing.
All right.
Go start your own ministry. Yeah.
Well, everybody called that guy in Ohio that called me mockingly. He's one
Why? Why should we call him, Kent? Why? It has nothing to do with anything. You're just being a jerk.
asking about how many wives have you had. Tell him, watch this video. 47,213. See what he thinks about that. All right. Thank you so much. Let's quit. This has been an hour. Thank you, guys. Appreciate this. I hope you don't have to go to round 3. But if Cindy persists, I'll go to round 3, 4, 5, 6. We're taking this one to the mat.
Just a little while ago, you said you were done. Well, what is it? Are you done, or are you taking it to the mat?
I didn't do anything wrong. I got the
Yeah, you did.
right to defend myself. Thank you all. See you next time. Bye.
Wow. Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna upload this to my channel. Y'all enjoy it. Good night.